So if you look at the 30,000 rupee price category, oh my god, the competition is intense in 2023. And in this competitive landscape, if you look at Samsung's offering, it was the Samsung Galaxy A34, which while it was good in its own way with the fact that you got 4 years of software updates and 5 years of security updates, I think the Galaxy F54, the new Galaxy F54 is a better proposition. If you want to know why, I have a detailed review for you. And if you're here for the very first time, I'm Ashad. You're watching Trakin English, your place for detailed gadget reviews and comparisons. To start with, Samsung gets one thing absolutely right with the Galaxy F54, and that is the build and the design of the phone. The display has Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection, and so do the camera rings. But the back is made of plastic, and so is the side frame. One thing that I appreciate about the F54 is that Samsung has managed to keep the weight under 200 grams for a phone which has a 6000 mAh battery. So the in-hand feel of the phone is very good, it's dense, and it's definitely premium feeling. It does look very similar to the Samsung Galaxy S23 series with that individual camera ring design that Samsung has, which it's using for every single lineup in 2023. While it doesn't differentiate itself, at least it gets the basics right. Of course, there's no IP rating or wireless charging. That's something that you have to keep in mind. Now, if you want IP rating, you'll have to consider the Galaxy A34 instead. As for the color options, we've got two variants of the phone. This is the Meteor Blue and this is Stardust Silver, which actually does look very good, and when light falls on it at certain angles, you get this nice rainbow effect. Now, while it does look good, but the phone is extremely glossy and it attracts a lot of fingerprint marks. Now, with respect to the Type-C port, you get a Type-C 2.0 port at the bottom and a single speaker as well. And you also get a SIM card tray where you can add 2 nano SIM cards or 1 nano SIM card and a memory card, which is actually very good. Samsung supports up to 1 TB memory cards, and this is a rarity in this price class as well now. Now, one thing I found slightly disappointing about the F54 is that it uses an AMOLED display, which I'll come to in a bit, but it doesn't have an in-display fingerprint scanner. You get a side-mounted fingerprint scanner on the power button. Now, I don't generally have a problem with side-mounted fingerprint scanners, but we had a poll where you all mentioned that you actually prefer in-display fingerprint scanners. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Alright, now talking about the display, you've got a Super AMOLED Full HD plus 120Hz refresh rate, 6.7-inch display, which is of course very good. Now, this display has been calibrated well. You've got Samsung's typical vibrant look, or you can use the natural look for better color calibration as well. The peak brightness is not the best in class. In fact, it's not even the best when you consider other Samsung phones, because most of them can reach at least 1000 nits or 1200 nits. This one reaches only a peak brightness of 800 nits. But you know what, despite having a peak brightness of 800 nits, when we took it outdoors, it was bright enough. We didn't face any issues there. The sunlight legibility is good. The viewing angles are good. That's nothing to worry about with both these factors. Now, like I mentioned, you get Gorilla Glass 5 protection on the front, but since it's a Samsung phone, Samsung gets the basics right. You get YouTube HDR playback and Netflix HDR playback right when you take it out of the box. By the way, talking about the box, I just remembered that all you get inside the box is a SIM card tool and a cable. But still, the display experience on this phone has been good, actually better than good for us. Now, like I mentioned, you get a 120Hz refresh rate on the F54, and there's adaptive refresh rate setting available as well, which means that it can switch between 60 and 120 depending on whatever content is playing. But in our testing, despite having adaptive on, it never switched to 60 Hz, even in AOD, which generally happens. Now, Samsung does offer a linear motor with the vibration feedback, but it's very soft, it's not very strong. You still get precise tight feedback, but it's not very strong. Now, to tie up the whole multimedia experience along with the display, you definitely need a good set of stereo speakers, but that's not available on the F54. Like I mentioned, it's a single speaker setup. It's loud enough, it gets rich for vocals, and if you're watching videos, you can hear the dialogues properly, but there's not enough bass. Why don't you take a listen to the sound right next to the Poco F5, which of course has stereo speakers. Now let's talk about the cameras. The F54 has a 108 megapixel primary camera with optical image stabilization and a lens which has an aperture of f/1.8. The secondary is an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and the tertiary is a 2 megapixel macro. On the front, you get a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Now, I'm happy to report this. We've tested the cameras on the phone and we are generally very happy with the results that we got. This is a well-tuned camera setup. Especially the primary camera takes detailed pictures in daylight. The skin tones are very good. The portrait shots are very, very good. In fact, in all of these scenarios, when you shoot pictures with it, you'll feel like you're using a flagship phone. Now, HDR on this primary camera, what we noticed is a bit of a hit and a miss. When it gets it right really well, like very well controlled highlights, picking out details from the shadows. But many times what you notice is that it gets the HDR wrong as well, especially when you're shooting human subjects. The subject in the foreground generally gets very underexposed. Now, color reproduction on the Galaxy F54 is slightly on the punchier side, and that's generally Samsung's aesthetic. Now, with the primary camera, if you're shooting low light pictures, what we noticed is that it gets the color temperature right, and you also get very good exposure. Basically, it does brighten the scene up enough. But it's not as detailed as daylight shots, and sometimes the noise correction algorithm smoothens out the details a bit too much. Now, the ultra wide angle camera is an 8 megapixel one. It's a very wide field of view that you get with it, but it's not very detailed. However, the color sense consistency with the primary camera is good. The HDR performance is decent. The low light performance is not very good. The 2MP macro camera is well a 2MP macro camera. I mean, it's okay. Now, on the selfie camera, we were very, very impressed with the pictures that we got with it. The skin tones were surprisingly good for a Samsung phone, and the pictures were detailed as well. In fact, selfies, if you're shooting in high dynamic range situations, is good, and so are the low light selfies. They're good enough. Now, with respect to video recording with the primary camera, you can shoot up to 4K 30 FPS videos. It should have been 4K 60 FPS, but the 4K 30 FPS recording quality is good. The HDR performance is good too. Now, with the ultra wide angle camera, you can only shoot up to 1080p 30 FPS videos though. Thankfully, the selfie camera on the front shoots 4K 30 FPS videos, and the quality was so good. I mean, 4K 60 FPS would have been a nice addition, but still at 4K 30 FPS, we really enjoyed how detailed the videos looked. The sound recording quality was also very good.
Do let me know how is the video quality, video stabilization and audio quality right now.
So overall, with the Galaxy F54, we liked the camera performance. Do let us know if you want a comparison. We didn't have time enough to do a detailed comparison with another phone, but if you want one, let us know in the comment section below. But the camera performance, we are pretty much happy with it. Now, what about the internals? It's got an Exynos 1380 chip. Is it good? Well, Exynos 1380 is actually well tuned. Surprisingly, it's one of the better Samsung chips that we've seen in the recent past. I'll tell you why, because you of course get an Antutu score which is above 5 lakhs, which is in the same ballpark range of the Dimensity 1080 or the Dimensity 7050. Of course, it's not the most powerful mid-range chip that you can get, which currently is of course the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2. More importantly, what you need to note is that the Exynos 1380 is a balanced performer. In the CPU throttle test, we got a CPU stability score of 80%, which is very good. And in GPU throttle, which is basically what we do with the 3D Mark wireless test, we got a stability of over 90%. So performance-wise, it's stable enough, and you can game on it for long because the phone doesn't heat up too much. It doesn't lose too much battery life either. But gaming is of course not, you don't get to play at the best graphics. What you can get with Call of Duty Mobile is low max or very high settings. And we played for about 30-40 minutes. The phone ran stable enough. For Call of Duty, it's good enough, but if you're playing something like Genshin Impact, then you will need a more powerful phone. Now, with respect to everyday performance with One UI, it was smooth actually. We didn't face any stutters as such. So good job. Now, if you're wondering what are the variants available, there's only one variant that Samsung's selling, which is the 8 256GB variant. Now, this is LPDDR4X RAM and UFS 2.2 storage. Again, this is not the best in class. It should have been at least UFS 3.1. That would have made it a great deal. So performance-wise, I'll say the F54 is above average. Now, with respect to network performance, you get support for 10 5G bands. We tested Geo 5G and it was very good. I mean, the speeds were very good and the call quality is good. There were no call drops either. Samsung does a good job with network performance. And you also get support for Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3 and NFC, which Samsung Pay support as well. Another thing is, if you are an audiophile and if you have a pair of earphones that support the LDAC codec, the F54 supports it. That's good. The main reason why I'm going to be recommending the Galaxy F54 to people is for that massive 6000 mAh battery that you get inside the phone. It is a battery monster for sure. Along with One UI's battery optimizations, we got a screen on time of 4.5 hours after one full day of use. We took it out of the charger at about 7:30, ended the day at about 11 PM in the night with 36% left in the bank. And this was with adaptive battery still learning our usage patterns. Trust me, this phone is going to last you at least 8 to 9 hours of screen on time. It's one of the best battery life that we've experienced on a phone. Considering the fact that even CPU is not very powerful, the battery tuning can be done better as well. So overall, for battery life, the F54 is fantastic, and Samsung has managed to keep the weight low as well, like I mentioned. But the biggest concern is that you have this big battery, but the charging speed is only 25 watt. So it'll take you at least about 1 hour 45 minutes for a full charge. Now, one reason why I'd recommended the Galaxy A34 even in my top 5 phones under 30,000 rupee list is because of the 4 years of software updates and 5 years of security updates that Samsung was promising with that phone. Fun fact, it's doing that with the Galaxy F54 as well. And I'm very happy with that fact because the F54 is generally a better phone than the Galaxy A34, and yet you get the same level of software commitment from Samsung. We've spoken at length about One UI. One UI is of course one of the better software experience that you can get out there. Now, if you're wondering if the Galaxy F54 has bloatware apps, well, we did notice Byju's was there, which of course you can uninstall very easily. And there is glance integration as well, which you can switch it off very easily, unlike a Realme phone where you'll have to search for it. It's available directly out there for you to see. So overall software experience on the Galaxy F54 is 2 thumbs up. Now, when I take a look at the Galaxy F54, I look at it this way. If you're somebody who wants a good display with great battery life, a good software experience and promise of future software updates, and a good camera experience, you really cannot go wrong with this phone. Of course, if you're somebody who's a gamer and who wants the best performing phone, you should not look at this one. And not everybody is a gamer, mind you. But if you're somebody who values stereo speaker setup and an in-display fingerprint scanner, then I would suggest that these are compromises that maybe you might be able to live with. So I'm generally happy with the Galaxy F54. I think Samsung gets the basics right and it balances it well. So overall, what do you guys think of the Galaxy F54? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you want comparisons with other phones? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, this is Arshad signing off. Keep tracking and stay safe.